You know, sometimes playing in a building like Chicago Stadium, I think, is a negative, especially for a guy like Denis Savard. He does so many things well offensively that I'm not sure at times with the crowd really roaring behind him, Mike, that he doesn't try and do a little too much. And I think that's a natural tendency, and that's, I think, one of the reasons why Chicago probably hits a little more and plays a little more physically at home. I had mentioned that earlier. It's because the crowd gets behind them. It's not that they all of a sudden develop guts when they come into their own building. This crowd does something to you. It just happens to you. Your adrenaline starts flowing, and you get more physical out there.
At that time, and McMillan felt that the crowd itself was causing his players to fluster, and he wanted to give them a half-minute just to rest and maybe get their cool back.
Any idea what the final score was?
It was lopsided.
They lost 12-2.
Here's Gartner faking, then shooting. He scores! Mike Gartner with his 27th goal of the year. 1-0 Washington.
And when you look at Washington's lineup and you try to find the offensive threats, it's not a plural, it's a singular, and there it is, number 11. What a great lateral move by Mike Gartner all the way from his far end. Larry Murphy, with the great vision, spots him. Now watch what Gartner does. As soon as he crosses the blue line, the fake, now all the way across. And he gets help from 26 Corriveau by taking that other defenseman. Well, that's tough to stop. Pang looked as if he was on his way down, Mike, something that he can't afford to do because he's so short anyway. But it was a great individual effort by Mike Gartner that puts Washington up by 1 here.
Turned by Christian. Rolls it around for Adams, but Pang chopped it into Adams, so Manson stands up. Adams with a check. And 5 outlets on to Vincelette. Play is to Savard. Score!
Only the great ones can do this, sportsmen. Great play by Vincelette to start it, though. Look at this fake. Now he looks up. Whoop. I'll just wait for an opening between Clint Malarchuk's legs, because sooner or later Malarchuk has to move over to me. How do you execute a play like that? Most of us that ever played the game cannot relate to a play like this. When you're like Denis Savard, I mean, what a great fake. And then the move. Look at him explaining it there to Bob Mason.
This game just seems like a Capitals type of game. Not a good flow to it for Chicago. Not really that much for Washington, but I don't think they're as concerned about that.
No, I do think Chicago is playing a better defensive game than a lot of people might have considered them capable of playing. But they go in spurts, and that's another thing that Bob Murdoch and I talked about. They will be solid for 30 minutes, 40 minutes even, sometimes 50 minutes, and then there'll be a 10-minute breakdown, maybe in a series of 10 one-minute breakdowns. But, you know, that's all it takes, and that's what separates the top teams in the NHL from the bottom teams in the NHL, is the ability to play from the time the puck is dropped to what time the game ends, 60 minutes of consistent hockey. I'm going to give you a look at a low-angle shot by Scott Stevens and a good pad save by Darren Pang. Watch the action over on the left. See in the, well, you could see in the background at least. Wow, there was the retaliation. I hadn't seen that before.
By Ridley, dumped right back. Ahead with it is Stevens, but wipes out. So it's Manson to Thomas, to Noonan up the wing. Back for Thomas, score!
Out there, you're able to take advantage of an unexpected situation, and that's what Chicago does. Watch on the left of your screen. See number 11 in red? That's Mike Gartner. He turns the wrong way. Why? He's a forward that was covering for Scott Stevens. That sprung Noonan loose on the far side, Thomas loose in the middle. There's a player coming over to try and cover up for Gartner, who had turned to the inside, but Thomas was able to go right to the net. There's number 11 right behind Thomas, moving away. Every once in a while, you'll end up with a good break against a forward who is caught back on defense, covering for a defenseman who's up ice. That's what Steve Thomas did, and the Blackhawks lead it 2-1.
Tipped away by Pang. Galley fires one wide. Over to get it is Gartner. Graham on him. Centering pass tipped away by Pang. Back it comes to Hatcher. Score! Kevin Hatcher with the drive. And the game is tied at 2.
Pretty good pressure by the Capitals, and you know when your focus ends up too much on what is happening concerning your cave-in, and let's face it, Chicago started to struggle there. They were running around a little bit. You tighten your focus, and you forget about the point man once in a while. Look at number 4, bottom left of your screen. Now he's remembered, but it's too late. He's able to get a shot away, and you can see Mike Gartner got a piece of it off the shaft of his stick. That's both top corners that Mike Gartner has scored in tonight. He has both of Washington's goals. You know, when that focus gets narrowed and narrowed and narrowed, you forget about all of your responsibilities, and a guy like that, man, Kevin Hatcher, has just long enough to get a great shot away, deflected by Gartner. Gartner has both Washington's goals. This one's not going to end just yet.
2-2, the Blackhawks and the Capitals as Stevens steps in and hammers one through the crease wide.
Boy, see where that puck ended up? He's in on a chance. It's a great chance because he's got somebody going to the net. I don't know. I think there are some coaches that... oh, here's a chance for Bob Murray.
Knocked down in front, another shot, they score!
Of entanglement by the Capitals to that side of the net. Look at all the red jerseys that allowed Bob Murray to come on in. And it never did turn out right for the Caps as Denis Savard swooped into the middle of the ice to pick up the rebound that came off of Malarchuk's pads. And he's given Chicago a 1-goal lead in a real tight hockey game. We're getting down to the short strokes. That's a huge goal for Chicago. 8:12 to go. Washington broke down really at a bad time.
Troy Murray to try to win the draw away from Gustafson. And it is nudged back to Murphy. Flips it wide. Moving toward it. First one there to take is Ludzik. Crisply on the stick of Graham. Finesses Murphy, scores!
This outlet pass, but I don't think it's a defenseman back there, Mike. I'm not so sure that wasn't Steve Larmer that was deep in the zone. Good fake here. Good fake by Graham that freezes Murphy long enough to get around. But you know, Clint Malarchuk is going to be talking about this one. I think he let one get by him here. Then on another night, well, unless that dropped, Clint Malarchuk will have a long few hours until he falls asleep tonight. At any rate, Dirk Graham scores just a giant goal for Chicago.
Miller poised here as the right wing on this line. Pavanka the left for the face-off involving Ridley and Stapleton. Puck pumped over for Galley. Shot, he scores! And the Caps are back to within one.
Boy, what a great offensive play by Galley. You know, I can't help but sit here and think, man, Clint Malarchuk is going to feel even worse now. Should Washington not come back, Clint Malarchuk's such a competitor, and he's allowed he's allowed all of them tonight for Washington, but good move by Galley. Good work by Kelly Miller in deep. There's another play where the defenseman, that's Galley, stepped right in around Brian Noonan. The forwards for Chicago were going out to the defense and standing there with their backs to their defense, looking back in at the play. You know, if you got any brains at all, you're just going to wait till the play comes around the net and dance around your check, especially if you're down by 2 goals. That's what Galley did. Read it perfectly, made a great play, and the Caps have closed to 1.
You get the impression we're seeing 2 different kinds of games here tonight?
You bet. It's opened up completely for the Hawks in the third period. They've had 6 shots, 3 quality shots, and 3 goals. Look at this.
Here's Christian in. Oh, and the shot just hit the outside of the goal. That would have been the one that tied it. Galley over to Christian. Feeds one to Hunter. He scores! Dale Hunter, and the game is tied.
We went from a game where you couldn't buy a great scoring chance in the last 10 minutes to a game that's kind of, okay, last shot wins all of a sudden. Christian had a big chance. I'm not sure he ever got his left hand back on his stick. It looked like a one-hander that just went wide. Play goes back in deep. And here's Christian moving around. Dale Hunter has Dan Vincelette all over him, but he's able to get enough of his torso loose to take a shot that went low between Darren Pang's legs. I wonder what Pang was doing going down there. You know, he used to be a floppy goalie until his coach told him, you'll never make it unless you can learn to stand up. That time, he looked like he was going down again. Remember the very first goal of the game that Gartner scored up high? He was going down to try and cover low.
Looks for a man. Gets it over to Miller. Turnarounder is sent away by Pang. Manson off Vive's glove. Vive able to control, then loses to Stevens. Pavanka tried a fidget pass for Ridley, but here comes Savard in a 3-on-2. Crosses off of the fallen Stevens. It goes wide.
Now, by Brian Murray, Pavanka doesn't hit the ice again. He might not hit it for 2 games.
This is Savard. Pivots and has 2 chasing. Savard picks up a third. He scores!
Period display. We had talked about how good a job the Capitals had done of containing Savard, but no longer. Here he comes. I'm just going to lay out and let you watch him on this one. Amazing. A lot of red jerseys fishing out there, aren't there? Not catching anything when it's on Denis Savard's stick. Wow. You know, and Malarchuk had climbed back out of his little hole following that weak goal that he let in from Dirk Graham. He climbed back out and went to a tie. He certainly could have been faulted on that one. That was just the Denis Savard show in a nutshell. One more look at Savard's goal. Here he comes. He's already beat Stevens, so there's one guy fishing for it. There's another guy down on one knee. You can see him trying to fish for it. Here comes maybe Stevens again. Another fish. That's 3. There's 4. There's 5. Guys are getting tired of trolling at this point. And bingo. And it might have even gone off of Vive's skate. You know that, but I'm sure Vive's not going to say anything. That's Denis Savard's hat trick for the night. He actually got cut on the play. You want to talk about some concentration in the middle of all of that razzle-dazzle spinorama stuff? Probably got clipped under the chin for a cut in the middle of it all and didn't even know it was there until he scored.
Dale Hunter to represent the Capitals, and it will be Graham in. Dirk Graham to take the face-off for Chicago.
I didn't realize Dirk Graham was that good a face-off man. Don't you think Troy Murray's going to come back in? Yeah, here we go. Boy, something was wrong. It was like looking at a picture and having somebody say, find a mistake.
So Troy Murray to test with Hunter.
They got
the
one
man in the trigger shot area will be Murphy.
Got one chance. They got to get it back to Murphy. You know, Stevens is going right for the front of the net. 3 Caps in front, faced with 3 Blackhawks in front of them.
Troy Murray backs off. They're ready. Stevens to Murphy. The shot turned away. To get it, Troy Murray can't clear. 3 seconds to go. Quick shot in front, sailed just by the glove hand of Pang, and the game is over.
A great finish to an outstanding hockey game that, I agree with you, Mike, had 3 or 4 different complexions. Tough loss for Clint Malarchuk, but a well-played hockey game that was very entertaining. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Chicago tied with St. Louis for second. The Capitals 5 behind Philadelphia. 5-4 Chicago.